Hello, I'm Sharon, and I'm going to war.
I am Daniela, and I'm going to war.
I'm Cortland, and I am going to war.
I am Diana, and I am going to war.
I'm Jei.Are, and this is war. Laying back down on this gurney, tubes running inside and outside of me, fluid dripping and draining from my body. These are the products of retackling this war, but we didn't lose the battle. We're just beginning the war, just like we did before when my baby sister was 4 and my mom was first diagnosed with cancer. I remember staying up all night asking God for the answers. Why my mom? Why this way? What did I do wrong? Why are you trying to take my mommy away? And with anger-filled tears, I still remember that day because that was the first time that I learned to pray. And as bombs dropped and chemotherapy went on, I called in reinforcement and invoked the strength of my mom to help my sisters and move my family along and still rock myself to sleep at night with those old songs and old psalms that my mom sang to me, like Psalm 23, because I needed to search to find that God was still next to me. As I tackled this idea of the shadow of death, I stopped my world so I could catch my breath. And when the dust settled is when I knew it. I realized we'd pull through it, and so we did. And I didn't have to be a warrior. I could be just a kid. Until 2 years later, and she's diagnosed again, and that's when I learned to pray by grabbing my pen, and my ink knew all the words I didn't know how to say, conveying anger and sadness and sorrow and rage, and my words would cry, and they would scream, and they would bleed off the page. I was a prisoner of my emotions, confined in a cage, always toughening and strengthening, never accepting defeat. But I was so young and so bitter, at an age that was supposed to be so sweet. But I guess nothing is promised. Nothing is concrete. And so I'd rock myself to sleep just like I did back then and didn't wake up until she was healed again. And so she was. And everything was okay. And life moved on. And so we took things day by day. And so I shrunk a little in my emotional age because I owed it to myself to have that developmental stage. Always laughing at everything and remembering to play, and everything was okay. Until I'm in college and suddenly shot back to age 10 when my mom has told me it's come back again, and the pain grinds me dead in my chest as she tells me her plans on removing her breast, and here I am, imprisoned again in the same concrete cage I built at age 10. The other day, my friend called me, just out of the blue, to ask how I was doing. I said, I'm not so good. How about you? He told me he was moving back home, and he just made that decision because his mom suddenly passed away from a brain aneurysm. And in that moment, I see the light. I know my plight, but I know God's might, because we were cursed with this cancer, but blessed with the opportunity to fight. And so we're going to war just like we did before, retackling these spores and restitching these sores, sacrificing breasts and hair and possibly more, just like before when my baby sister was 4 and I was 10, because after 2 battles with no casualties, it's come back again. And so we're going to war, and we're going to fight, because there's nothing more worth fighting for than the right, the entitlement, and opportunity for life.